Yeah, easy.
So I guess how do we want to run this meeting? Do you want to give an opening statement? I can give an opening statement, and then
Yeah, I'll just say a few quick words. I'll just
yeah,
we'll just go from when I maybe I'll walk in, we'll have a chat. So just remind, so my name's Kel. I'm recently purchased the building on the Fifth Avenue and East 56th Street in New York. And it's nice to meet you, George. You're the landowner, and I'd like to talk about and have a discussion about acquiring that land. Just to enable me to do some future developments on that property. Currently, I've got a 30-year lease, and at the moment, that's not enabling me to fully do some construction work that I would like to undertake on that property. So I'd like to have a discussion today about acquiring that lease from you in full to own that land.
yeah. So hey, Cal. Look, as me, I agree. We're here to discuss your potential sale of the corner of Fifth Avenue and 56th Avenue. So you currently own the 10-story building, correct, on top?
Yeah. So I own the 10-story building, and when I purchased it, I acquired a lease for the underlying land on the corner.
Yeah, which is from me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I own the building, the 10-story one.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess I would start to say that we're in this meeting, so I'm open to selling the land in some way to you.
Mm-hmm.
However, obviously, there would be conditions that would need to be met and suitable offer for that. So
yeah, no worries. What would those conditions be? I think if you're ready for me, I'd like to know more about your situation and try and figure out a way we can kind of come out of this. Seeing as though we're both owning properties next to each other. So what are some of the potential interests that you're interested in?
Yeah, look, I actually want to start off with we can probably actually start off by seeing the property actually. I'll get it up so we both know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So this is the property area here.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so this is your property. This is a 10-story office building, built in 1954, and this is my property, which is an 8-story old building. So you're very lucky. You're on the corner lot. You've got some great commercial potential there, and also frontage.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So
yeah, that's good. Okay, nice. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah, that's what I bought.
Yeah, okay. So I guess in terms of that, the underlying land probably is. I guess my interests are that I'm currently living next to it, and I would be happy to sell it to you. However, I don't want to live next to an abomination of a development. So I think anything that gets developed on it has to be of reasonable stature and reasonable looking, and tasteful for the current area. And the area of that is, I'll just showing the screen. So the area is Midtown CBD at the moment, but it's right next to Upper East Side. So it's pretty classy, but also commercial as well. So yeah.
So just going on that point. So a bit about my background. I think if you're unsure, so I've had a lot of experience within the New York real estate kind of area, and I'm very experienced in these sorts of developments. So part of the plan, acquiring this lease in full, or this full purchase of this lease, it would enable me to kind of actually build something that I think people would enjoy. So while I can't necessarily go into the exact details of what the plan is, it is something we are very interested in, keeping that area or using that area as assets, as like a very wealthy area, very stylish area. We want to build on those assets, so we're not going to be making something that isn't going to be looking exceptional, basically.
Yeah. So I mean, correct. So I guess in terms of like the plan, you you'd probably be building commercial property on that, I'd be guessing.
Yeah, so we're going to like a commercial slash residential sorts of things. For confidentiality reasons, just based on factors like we wouldn't necessarily be able to divulge exactly what we are undertaking. And if we were to, we probably need to work out some sort of confidentiality agreement. But from the information I can give you, it would be a residential commercial building. Yeah.
Residential commercial. Yeah. I mean, I guess you can't divulge how high it's going to be.
Yeah, well, just in terms of past history, based on like from our perspective, could influence the value of the land and whatnot. So we're just be wary, like without any sort of confidentiality agreement between us divulging any information like that. But just my past history as a prominent real estate investor and developer, you might be able to understand what kind of situation we're dealing with.
Yep. So I guess in terms of the sale, if we look at one thing that I would like to be is I would like to not be an eyesore because I'm living next to it. And if you're building something, I would at least like to look over the plans. Look. Well, not so. You don't have to look over the plans, but can we say that? Can I have some sort of input on the building facade as such? So not so much the building. I'm going to leave the plans to you. That's fine. I guess the internals of the building is not really my concern.
So the outside kind of aesthetic.
Yeah, the outside aesthetics of the building. I guess if I have the chance to look over it and have some input into it.
Okay, so so that's fair enough. So I understand you want to make sure that the area that you live in, the building that you own, isn't going to be kind of devalued by this this new construction. The one worry that I have with that, or what my thoughts are on that aspect, is that us to kind of come to an arrangement that will be very difficult to quantify and qualify. Like, would you need to be signed off on the project? We're very happy to work with you in consultation potentially, if as we do understand that they're right next to each other. But in terms of like, contractually, I feel like that would be putting us up to an obligation where we'd rather trust some architects that we employ.
Yeah, so I guess to that point, what I would prefer is that, say you probably have a panel, and I'm guessing you're part of it, which is you pay architects to design your building facade, and then you're going to have a look over and say, this is what I want, or this is what I don't want. And there might be 5 people on that panel, I'm guessing, and I just would like to be one of those people on the panel that looks at the building facade before it gets signed off. So I'm not saying that I'll have any veto power or anything. However, just basically input, like equal input into sort of the lookings of the facade.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Well, okay, that's okay. We'll let's think about that as well. All right. Is there any other things? So, from my understanding, you're open to selling that underlying land, and your main interests are basically ensuring that your property, isn't going to necessarily be devalued by any new construction, and you want to be a part of that process, in terms of making sure that the aesthetic of the area is upheld. Is that my?
Yeah, correct. I mean, as I said, like the internals of the building, what you do with it, I know that's commercial in confidence. That's not really my issue. And I don't think there's any confidential parts of building facade to me. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So okay. I think we can work with something there. So for me, for my interest, I'm just gonna bring something up here that.
Yeah. Please let me know. Like
Yeah. So for us, so obviously the value of the underlying land, purchasing that land is important to us. And we're also, as we are looking to make some residential or commercial developments on that land, we are looking to purchase the air rights above your building, so next to each other, and this would enable us to, depending on where we go, to develop property.
Okay, so that's the potential to develop the property over the top of my.
Yeah, so not necessarily like a, nothing, yeah, not like a building and then like an L shape kind of thing, but just in order to develop, we will need air rights above your
Okay.
area.
Are you looking at purchasing any other buildings apart from this corner block?
We have other options available to us for future developments on what we are planning on doing.
No, sorry. For what I mean is, are you looking at purchase if you purchase this corner block? Are there additional buildings that you're in the area you're looking to purchase to expand the footprint of your proposed building?
Oh, okay. So from my understanding, currently no. Within this specific area, we do have other, being part of a large organization, we do have other areas around New York City that we do own. But near this specific address, I don't think we do. And I think that that's not necessarily our purpose. So for us, it's more about that block of lands, and that's where we're interested in.
Yeah. Look, I can say obviously you want some sort of air rights over the top of my property, so there would be some overhanging of some sort.
Yeah. Whether that's within construction, or whatnot.
Look,
Yeah.
I'd be interested. Obviously, my property is a historic property, and I can understand that your interests are to get as much real estate as you possibly can in that area. Now, I don't know if you. So the building, the area on the fifth on the corner is currently zoned as a C5 in the New York planning codes.
Yeah.
So that gives you a maximum area of 15 times the base width.
Mm-hmm.
So plus you can do any residential. So I'm guessing that's where you come into a mixed residential commercial area. So yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is that sorry, can you just give me a second?
That's right. That's good. I can still hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Don't worry.
So what I'm saying is that I wouldn't want anything overhanging my property that's below 15 stories.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I don't want to detract from the historic nature of the property.
Yeah, no, I can understand. Okay, I think we're in agreement then, because I think for us the value of the area is important, and the look of the area is very important to us. So I think if we were to maybe, I think from my perspective, these are the important points for me. I think if we were to throw some numbers out there and just see what our thoughts are, look, based on the value of the land, we're looking at maybe like $13-14 million just for that underlying property. And the way in which we've thought of the air rights is it's usually similar to about half of the value of the rights on the bottom. So that's how they've. I'll give you a better definition of the air rights in just a moment. Sorry. Yeah, so the way in which we normally calculate air rights is fetching approximately half the underlying value of the land of the property.
Yep.
So half the underlying land value, sorry. So maybe if we were looking at that, maybe $7 to $8 million for the air rights.
Okay, so $7-8 million of my property. Now with the 15, so we're talking about 15-story minimum build along the air rights.
So in terms of
if I'm looking at it, here's my little diagram.
Oh, I couldn't see it, but yeah, that's fine.
There.
Yeah.
So a minimum of 15 stories from your building.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now Now, I can understand that's probably going to reduce your air rights percentage. So if we say a 10% less air rights.
Okay, so in terms of just some options that we can go through. So say if we can have the entire air rights, but if we make but we can say that, in terms of the construction of this building, we aren't going to go like, stipulation of this specific building, this specific development is not going to go below 15 stories. So we can maybe purchase like all of the air rights, but ensure that we have that ability to do what you need.
Yeah, I guess that's an option if it's in the contract.
Yeah.
However, I guess what I want to bring it back to is the actual price of it. We're talking about the price of my block. I think I want to bring it back to the price of the corner block, which we're also in selling.
Mm-hmm.
Now that corner block is based on 7,553 square feet at the moment of land.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a property tax class 4. And I think it has, I think you guys bought the last time the land and the actual buildings changed hands was 2004. And that was for $168 million.
Yeah,
and then we went and sold you the building.
Yeah.
So look, the land underneath obviously isn't worth that much because it's just because you own the building and the building's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think we can come to an agreement of what the overall cost of the land would be for me to sell that to you.
Yeah. So what your thoughts? Just if I'm saying $13 million of the underlying land value, what would your thoughts be on that?
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I was thinking more close to the $80 million.
18 or 80?
80.
80. Okay.
And look, I think I'd be interested to know how you came up with 13 because I can go through some figures with you how you came up with 80.
Yeah, I'd be interested because for us, we're going based on the fact that we our recent sales and our past experiences, we're looking at a similar price range from about 10 to 15, based on a similar understanding of what we dealt with in the past. So that's the main reason with that figure. So we'd be interested to know what your perspective is on your 80.
Yeah. Okay. So in my perspective, so you can currently in that property put a 15 times area ratio building onto that. So that is 15 times the 15 floors if you want to do completely full on the property width, and that's on for commercial, and then you can add residential on top of that. So if we look at just commercial real estate prices at the moment for New York, they're going for approximately $1,000 per square feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that will give you, so if we look at 7,500 times 15.
Okay. Yeah.
Is 100. So you can put 112,500 square feet of commercial real estate on there.
So just to make sure we're both on the same page, so this is underlying land, so it's like land that's underground. Yeah.
Yeah. So the underlying land is 7,500 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
You can put on 15 floors of commercial real estate on top of that. Plus, you can put any residential. Okay. So we'll just take off that. We'll just say maximum you're allowed is 15 times that area in commercial.
Yeah. Okay.
So if we look at that, that means you're allowed 112,000 square feet of commercial area under tax class 4 and zoning C35 at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
you could sell that commercial area for $1,000 per square feet, which means you could make $112 million on that property.
Yeah. So for us, yeah, that's thanks for explaining that. I think that makes a bit more sense now. For us, the way we perceive that area is that is going to enable us to make some developments on the area above it. So while we might be able to put some, buildings under the ground, for us, we're going to put a foundation there, or looking to put a foundation there. So while we understand that there's the opportunity cost of any investment, we do miss out on other alternatives. For us, that $80 million range we wouldn't be looking to purchase that at that price point.
So I mean, let me finish, because I think we've got to come to an understanding here.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess the thing is, like, you've got to first demolish this original property, which is a 10-story building, yeah, correct?
Yeah.
So I guess we estimate that it would probably cost you $300,000 to $500,000 to demolish that property.
As an estimate.
Okay. And if you want to build a new property, it's the general price for new properties is probably $30 per square foot to build. However, to build I'm interested. Are you interested? You're interested in building like a nice building on top of it?
Yeah, I think. Well, if we were to develop, yes, we would be we care a lot about how it would look. I just want to say, I'm not one of the developers. I am here. My name is Cal. I'm here developer. And I've my team has come and provided me with some numbers about the development numbers. So this is interesting for me. But yeah, I'm slightly losing you potentially on the calculation. So could you just quickly wrap up the main point of that?
Yeah. Okay. So $40 per square meter to build a new building. Say that you're building the maximum allowed, which is what we discussed, which was 115,000 square. So I mean, you're looking at approximately $30 million to build a new building. So that leaves a profit of probably about $70 million for you. Now, as I said, we first come up with an $80 million. I first came up with 80. You came up with a 13. Now, I think if you guys stand to make $70 million worth of profit minimum off that building, if it was just commercial, I think we can come to some sort of agreement that maybe we can both mutually gain from that profit. And obviously you guys are doing most of the work on that profit. So I think if we do like a 60-40 split on that, we'd come to something of more like $35 million for the property. And then you guys can still make $45 million.
So how would, okay, interesting. I think, that's really, that makes a lot of sense. In terms of the air rights, where would they fit in for you? If we did have a station of 15 stories.
Yeah, so we're talking about just the corner property, and the air rights obviously on my property. Now, my property is historically registered, so it doesn't have the same building class as well. So and to be honest, that puts the land value down for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I can't really make much money from the building, and that price is going to show. So I mean, you offered $7 million for the air rights. I think that's a fair amount in that aspect. So I mean, all up that equals $42 million for both the air rights and for the corner property.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes that's along the lines that we can work along. I'm just thinking that just based on the opportunity costs we have for this investment, if we did purchase the underlying value at this price, we do have other investments that we could undertake for other buildings around the area. and we are in a good position. We can make some money. So we can make some money, as you just explained, with this investment. For us, the opportunity cost, if it was at that price, maybe we could move maybe 2 million off that underlying value price. I feel like that would be something that we'd be happy with.
So what are you talking about?
So at 33 million, for the underlying land value, that we value it at that, with their air rights at 7 million as well. So altogether, I guess, if we were to package it, for like 40 million, for the air rights and the underlying land value.
40 million. And I guess then you guys would probably make probably a similar amount of profit, probably more. I'd say you'd probably look at being at $50 million profit. Look, I mean.
Yeah. So with the profit, we are in a position where whichever options we choose, we will make some money. That's the benefit of our situation. And for us, it's more about what's the opportunity cost. So if we're putting 40 million here, how much return can we get? Even though they're both positive returns, will we get more from putting 40 million into another property?
Yeah, correct. And look, I mean, I guess in my position, it's currently COVID-19, so this is actually a deflation on what you would have paid. So I guess if you had looked at last year, there was in the same area a similar property that went for $161 million in the area. So, however, I understand the times, and office space is not really a premium now. So, I think the $40 million that you come up with is a good understanding between the two of us.
So I'd be understanding that in development we can sort out a way for you to be comfortable with the 15 stories. We're very happy to include that in the contract that we might provide. But yeah, we're happy with the 40 million between both the underlying value and the air value. If you're willing to agree to that.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I guess should we try to finalise this? So what we're both trying to agree to. So I guess we're trying to agree to $40 million.
So just to, I guess. Sorry, you just wrote.
Sorry.
I can do that.
So we're looking at $40 million for the corner property, and we're looking at for the air rights. Now, there was going to be a clause in that contract that you can't put air rights under 15 stories.
I'm not sure about the classification, the way in which New York, the air rights that they have. I don't know what the stipulation is at the building above your own building, but I think for us we can come to an agreement that we won't develop anything below 15 stories. So yeah,
that's good.
In the contract, yeah.
I mean, I guess this is all about how can we create value for each other, and how can you guys maximize your profit, and how can I obviously get some money or compensation for what my business is, and also be able to do that.
Yeah.
Now, can I also put something to you? You'll obviously be looking at developing this. Now, I have obviously I have the old building next to it, and it's in quite a dilapidated condition. For me to go and then build something new, like hire builders out and do the whole work on the front facade to make it look beautiful again, is quite a lot of work for me. So is there any way we can potentially put some of the building costs, some of the building that you're building, and get some of the construction workers into a subcontracting job to redo my building, the front facade of my building?
Yeah. So is this more of a cost or an organizational difficulty that you have? Like, I'm just thinking, are you asking us to just hire contractors for you, or have contractors that are working on our building work with your designs?
Look, I'm not worried how it's done. I think that if there's a large contract in the area to build that building, I think that if the addition is the redoing of the facade of another building adjacent to it, which is also has the air rights underneath it. So I guess if you look at air rights, your building is going to have just like scaffolding coming up the front of my building for some time, and that's understandable. Now, so that scaffolding is already built. In the same contract, can we look at redoing the front facade of my building?
Yeah, so we can. I think there's room for us to do that because I understand that there will be, especially in construction, some growing periods where there will be some construction work all over the place. So I can understand that that's something that we could potentially include. And if we're looking at that contract value of 40 million just for the air rights and the underlying value, I think there would be a relatively low cost to redo that front facade for us.
Yeah.
I think we could work that in. Yeah, and if that is something, yeah, I think we could do that for you. I think we value working with you together into the future. You do have the land next to us, so we appreciate where you're going. Okay.
Cool. Yeah,
something like that.
I mean, yeah, as I said, like I just want it to come to the best of both worlds for both of us. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we're settled on $40 million for corner property plus air rights. 15's minimum of 15 stories. Your building will be a mix of residential and commercial.
Yeah. Well, I just want to ensure that it's unrestricted use basically for
However, I'm going to have some say in the panel on the facade.
Yeah, so you'll come in as a consultant to the panel, as seeing as though your building's right next to it. We are open to having you coming in and consulting with our panel during stages where they're making decisions.
Perfect. So in terms of settlement, can we do like a 3 month settlement date to transfer the title over?
For us, that would work. So 3 months from today, and then I'd be able to tell you exactly how we could actually pay for that and what financing we would use. That would work from today.
Yep. And you're looking to obviously pay that right in front, 100% to me on the title transfer.
So I'm unsure of the exact cash flow we have available, but in terms of yes, we are looking to pay the $40 million as quickly as possible, basically.
Okay.
I'm sure of the finance in our business currently, but yeah.
Would you be willing to put a 10% deposit down to that?
10% of like a $4 million deposit.
Yeah.
Let me just check my cash on hand. I think we need to have a contract stipulated before I put down cash. So maybe if we had maybe in a month's time, we had a meeting where we can actually really get this in writing, and then I'd be happy to put forward a deposit of $4 million.
Okay, so I guess we can schedule another meeting for next week, and we can bring both our lawyers who have a very substantial interest in creating contracts for real estate.
Yeah.
And
that would be good. Let's do that in a month, and then we'd be happy to put down a forward deposit, and yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
All right, well, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, George.
Yeah, Cal, I think we've come to a really good agreement here, and I think
I look forward to hearing your perspectives on the designs and whatnot.
And I'm looking forward to working with you and having you as a new next door neighbour. I guess you won't be personally, but Unless you might
Might,
be able
I
to,
might,
maybe you'll be the penthouse at the top. I don't know.
yeah, maybe I might take one. Who knows?
Yeah.
Alright, nice. Okay. I'm gonna just click stop recording.
Yeah.